Lucasfilm.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And Kenton, we had actually a pretty cool response. Our top five, our last episode where we counted down our top five Star Wars moments, kind of tried it out as a fun little segment. And a lot of people were giving us their top fives. Do you want to hear some of these?
I sure do. Are they? Are there any that are laughable, like some of mine?
No.
Or are they?
No. Why do you say yours is laughable?
Well, I'm a stuck record on the Cloud City one, so that's kind of laughable. And then there was one that I had in there. Which one was it again? Oh, I can't remember now. There's one that's just like 1 second of airtime, sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
like
it's
like
a moment.
when you're choosing your choosing your favorite moments, there's like scenes, but then there's like a 1 second glance sometimes that's your favorite moment. So
yeah,
like some of them seeming insignificant in comparison.
Now, one really cool thing that you discovered in the meantime is that one of your favorite moments, the aforementioned Cloud City scene, is immortalized in plastic, as you said. They do have a set for that, right?
It's a diorama. Well, it's ridiculous because it's the existing figures, but not Lando. Not Lando.
No,
they left him out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
no.
Somebody said. I think it was Lauren said something like, "Oh, it's missing Lando." Somebody said that, right?
Yeah. So it's missing Lando. So it's Darth Vader, Boba Fett, Han, Leia, and C-3PO. Or no, I can't remember. No, no. Wait a sec. Or maybe it's just Han and Leia. I don't remember now. But and then in the middle of the box is a table, a white table and chairs. So it's basically like the Fisher Price restaurant set with a few Star Wars figures thrown in. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking it up?
I was trying to find it, but I can't find where it is on my my timeline.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not going to bother going back to look.
Anyway, yeah. But it's funny. It's just funny that you need to have Lando in that situation, right? Because he's got the best line. I've just made a deal that to keep the Empire out of here for good, whatever he said. He doesn't say it like that. I'm not very good at it.
They leave him out of the set, even though he says that. They leave him out of, and I think it's called Betrayal on Bespin. I think it's called.
Yes. Love the alliteration. All right, so this is from Jeff on Twitter, and he counted almost all of his were original trilogy, but so number 5, he says he puts the Endor Moon Celebration, not the Hayden Christensen version. So he likes the original Endor Moon Celebration, when they had the original actor playing Anakin. I can't remember who that was. Do you remember the name of that actor?
Shaw. Now I get him mixed. Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian Shaw.
I get him mixed up with Sebastian Stan now. Like there has to be two actors with the same name. And
even confusing, Sebastian Stan looks like Luke Skywalker, so that's even more.
Right, just confusing the issue. But I also think that means he likes Yub Yub song more than new agey pan flute Zamfir song. He likes Yub Yub
right,
better.
But you think about it, they also added a lot to that scene with the other celebrations on the other planets, so maybe he just doesn't like that aspect of it, where we see like the statue of the Emperor coming down. I always kind of like that idea. That was like the one part of that movie that I kind of liked. Right? I didn't really like the Hayden Christensen. Like again, I don't. George Lucas loves to kind of keep changing these things, but I was fine with the way it originally was. Anyway, that was his number 5. Number 4 was Hoth Battle, which was an amazing scene. That's like if we're gonna do top 5 battle scenes, that would be on that list for sure.
Oh, so good.
Rey finds Luke at the end of The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
number 3.
That's a great one.
Right, and then and it's even funnier knowing what comes after that in the next movie.
That there are some who would say that dampens the big finish of that film, but everybody loved the end of Force Awakens when they saw it. Everybody loved that moment.
And we had to see, right? It was like you said, if you can't say you said it, you can't say Luke Skywalker in the crawl of the movie and not have him be in the movie. So they snuck him in right at the end.
Right.
Return of the Jedi lightsaber battle between Luke and Vader. Yeah. That's also a very good, again, very, very good battle.
That's part of mine, which was Darth Vader looking back and forth. What should I do?
Yes.
Looking back and forth at.
And there was somebody here. I don't know if I have it in front of me, but there was somebody on social media that did also agree with that scene. With
it's a good scene.
I can't remember who it was. Maybe Chris. I can't remember.
That's part of the lightsaber battle for sure.
Yeah, it's the whole thing together, right? Yeah. And then at number one, and I kind of forgot about this one until he mentioned it. Jeff has the Endor Moon Speeder bike chase. Yeah. And that one too is another one scene that I really distinctly remember from when I first saw Return of the Jedi. So after Princess Leia in a gold bikini and what else did I say? I can't remember from that movie. The speed chase is a memorable one for sure.
Well, I remember Siskel and Ebert reviewing Return of the Jedi and saying, why don't they just fly those speeder bikes above the trees? It's a good question, you know. When we know they have the technology to do it, so why don't they just fly those speeder bikes over the trees? Why don't they?
Why don't they just get into a shuttle and fly over? Right. You know what I mean? If that's what they're trying to do, right? I
guess you would say they're for like short trips. They're for short hauls. You're not supposed.
Yeah, it's just like a regular what a motorcycle is for. That's exactly.
Yeah, you're probably.
Even though they are.
They're probably not built for Endor, and you're probably not supposed to fly them that fast through trees, but they're trying to escape from Luke Skywalker. So that's why they're going.
That's really interesting. I wonder if we looked at the design of those bikes, if they'd be different in some way, in that they were thinking about that, or because we see speeders all over the place, right? Like in Star Wars, but and even more so in the Legends and the non-canon stuff. Like I think about swoop bikes and swoop races, swoop speeders or something, and they're like, I've seen like designs that have them be like big hogs, like a big Harley Davidson kind of a thing. So I think that'd be really cool if they actually did take that into account, because it'd be tricky to fly over all that brush.
Well, and how tall were those trees exactly? Like there's an argument either way, I think.
Yeah. And then I have one more top 5 list from Adam over on Facebook, on our Facebook group. And this is funny because you can tell who Adam's favorite character is. Number 5, Vader saves Luke, Return of the Jedi. So that's the same as yours when he saves him. Number 4, Anakin's vision of the future in the Clone Wars, Ghosts of Mortis. I don't know what that is, but I assume that he sees himself as Darth Vader, I guess. Is that what happens?
Anakin's vision of the future in which? Sorry, in
the Clone Wars. In the Clone Wars animated series.
Sorry, I was thinking Attack of the Clones. That's yes.
He's a vision of himself as Darth Vader, I assume.
I can't remember that scene very well, to tell you the truth, and maybe it's because I watched so many of those in a row. That's probably that simple.
But I assume that's what that means. Anyway, it's a Darth Vader related scene. Number 3, the Vader hallway scene in Rogue One. That one, that's got to be in my top 10 for sure. That's a really good. And I just rewatched Rogue One last week, and it's so good.
It is
so excellent. Number 2 for Adam, Vader calls out to Ahsoka in Rebels, Twilight of the Apprentice. I do remember that scene. I did watch Rebels, and that was a very good scene as well. And then they kind of leave it open ended as to who survives. I think they close the door on it as they start to fight, so we don't get to see that. So it's a little frustrating. And then number 1, Vader tells Luke that he's his father from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
so
of course.
That is the Star Wars moment, really, right? That's the one that everybody remembers. So that is the ultimate Star Wars moment. So thanks, Adam, for that, and thank you to everybody who responded to our questionnaire. I think what we'll do in the future is when we do this, we'll plan it out a little bit more in advance and ask them first. Ask everybody first and get their responses, and then we'll kind of include them in with ours, right? For the episode.
And then we can make fun of people that we disagree with. Just kidding.
Exactly. No, that's right. Okay.
Then I can steal all their ideas and present them as my own. Perfect.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, Director.
The Star Wars, we've always thought of it as non-canon, and I guess it maybe is still non-canon, but there's a lot of Star Wars movies and TV shows that were made outside of the main films, even back in the 80s, including the Ewoks, Caravan of Courage, and the Battle for Endor, the TV specials, which I remember very, very distinctly watching as I was a kid on TV. Commercial breaks and everything, as well as some other things are coming to Disney Plus. That is the news story that I'm trying to get out. I don't know why it's taking me so long to say it, but so what do you think? So what do we have here? We have the 2 Ewok movies. What else?
We have the Boba Fett cartoon.
Just the Boba Fett cartoon from the holiday special.
Yes.
Right. That was done by, was it Nelvana?
Oh,
it was a Canadian company.
You got me. I don't know.
Oh, I believe it was a Canadian animation studio that did that one. Same kind of stuff as you saw in like Heavy Metal. Remember Heavy Metal?
Oh yeah,
movie?
Of course.
It was a similar style. I believe it was the same people that did those. Anyway, so that's going to be available, as well as the animated Ewoks TV series, which I love. But I'm disappointed that the Droids series isn't coming as well. I thought those two kind of went hand in hand.
No droids and no full holiday special.
Right, yeah, that's kind of disappointing as well. I would love for them to just embrace it and put the whole thing up there, remastered and everything. Let's polish that thing up and let everybody enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Like you could really have a lot of fun with it if they would just kind of embrace this as kind of a, especially now that we know that Star Wars is not infallible. Star Wars makes mistakes. It happens all the time. It happened back then. It happens now, and for them to kind of like own up to that, what was a mistake in the past, I think would really help the Star Wars brand. But anyway, they seem to be, trying to ignore all the, the cheesy 70s of it all, which sucks.
Did you say, I might've missed it. Did you say Clone Wars?
No, I missed that part. That was the last thing. And that's kind of maybe the biggest, most exciting aspect is the animated Star Wars Clone Wars TV micro series from Jendy Tartakovsky. That was on Cartoon Network. So these are like I think they're 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
They're
maybe.
Great.
I can't remember how long they are. Very short, animated, and by the same person that did Samurai Jack. And this is it's amazing. I remember watching it. I don't think I was watching it live. I saw it on the Canadian version of the Cartoon Network, whatever that was. So I think we had it delayed a little bit. But it's really, really cool. It's very, very cool animation and great scenarios, right?
Oh, I love it. By the way, I still have the DVD. Which means
cool.
those, but that means I need to sell them quick before this becomes free on Disney Plus. I got to move them.
Well, you never know, but Disney, they like to take things out and put them back in the vault sometimes. So maybe they'll do it with this stuff too. Anyway, that's very cool. So I'm looking forward to rewatching those. One of my favorite episodes of that I can remember is the one with
Mace Windu.
Mace Windu. Yes, Mace Windu.
Yeah,
Thank you. The one where he takes on
he
takes on the droid army by himself, like as a Jedi, and it's amazing.
And a little boy is watching.
Yes, that's right. The little boy's watching. It's such a great episode. It's so cool. There's no dialogue at all in the entire thing. It's all just a big battle scene.
It's pretty good.
So anyway, that's cool. But yeah, the other thing is that I'm also going to rewatch I'm not going to rewatch all this. I kind of feel like we should do maybe a watch along or something with some of these, maybe the Ewoks movies.
Yeah,
we could do. That might be fun.
Well, here's something funny. I rewatched the Ewoks movies on YouTube, I don't know, a few years ago, and they're bad.
Okay.
They're bad.
Oh, I know.
So let's just lay it out there. Like, okay.
All right.
Like this whole thing about they're not releasing the whole holiday special because it's bad. Well, they're releasing the Ewoks movies, and those are bad.
Yes.
And I think people think it's going to be like the end of Return of the Jedi, and it's not going to be like that. It's going to be like the little baby lost in the woods. Remember that?
Yes, I remember that. I very, very distinct memories of watching this on TV when it came out. I was excited.
Yeah.
So 1984, I would have been 8 years old, perfect age for this, and 85 was the next year. So yeah, this was right up my alley, and it was the first kind of Star Wars content we had after Star Wars was done, right? And we didn't, of course, there were no other like real movies coming out, right? We didn't expect anything. Like this was, only Star Wars we could get. So I remember watching it. I remember liking it as a kid. It is for kids. You have to really keep that in mind.
For little kids.
And I have watched it since. I know I've watched it as an adult. I feel like it's been maybe 20 years since I've seen this thing. So I think I'm gonna have to revisit that for sure.
I watched a bit of it on YouTube, and it just became too painful.
It's got what's his name in it? Wilford Brimley's in it.
Yeah,
it's like you gotta love it. He's selling his oatmeal with his diabetes, that whole thing.
I was about to say I thought Geppetto was in it. There's weird. I think he's playing Geppetto, but there's weird combinations of existing kids entertainment, and I think at the time, little kid entertainment was so soft and gentle and like without consequence that when you watch it now, it's just like it's almost like looking at clouds or something. Like it's okay, like you can pass the time by looking at it, but it doesn't get any better. Like staring at clouds. Like you could look for shapes, but probably it's not going to get very entertaining. It's the same thing watching the Ewoks. You're going to see some shapes. You're going to see some movement. You're going to see some characters who remind you of a time when you enjoyed Star Wars. But overall, I'd be amazed if older viewers who think that this is exciting and they're going to get something out of this, I'll be surprised if they make it past the half hour mark, to tell you the truth.
All right.
But then, hey, but the other thing, the one thing that I will say that might save it is if they really clean up the print. Like if they really make it look nice and sharp and pristine, who knows? Maybe I'll enjoy it more.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is back in the 80s. They did not put the money into TV movies the way they do now. Like we watched, The Mandalorian and even WandaVision, and I'm sure the one coming out today, the Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier. They make them like they make movies. The budget, it's indiscernible from the movies they release, right? That's not what happened back in the day. This is a low budget movie with low budget effects and low budget of makeup, I'm sure. Like, I don't think even if they cleaned it up, I don't know how good it's going to look.
Well, at the very least, if they cleaned it up, I mean, because originally, even on TV, it didn't look that good because it was on a square, and I wonder if it's going to be the square aspect ratio. I'm just curious to see what it's going to look like, like how much trouble did they go to on this thing, or none? Did they go to none? Are they just putting up this sort of square? Does it look like it did in the day? Is it low res? Is it? I mean, what is it? What's the print look like?
It's coming out. It's coming out next month. I don't have a date. It's coming. It's among the April releases, so whenever that, probably the first week of April, I'm assuming. But it's funny here in the. I'm reading this from a Variety article. It says, curiously, rather than make a splashy announcement of the release of all this long-lost Star Wars content, Disney quietly included the titles among a list of materials coming to Disney Plus in April.
Well,
so and they have not responded to requests for comment. So I guess they're really trying to sneak this stuff in there. They're putting it out there, but they're not making a big deal of it, saying, "Hey, we're not proud of this stuff."
Well, I don't think so. I mean,
but we're giving it to you.
I think one way to take all the air out of the holiday special, everything, is to just put it up there. And it's not like people are going to watch it and go like, that's it. I cancel my Disney Plus subscription. I'm unsatisfied. I don't think so. I think it'll just take the air out of all the discussion around it. And maybe it's embarrassing to watch Lumpy getting excited at the hologram or whatever Lumpy is doing in the holiday special. Maybe that stuff's embarrassing. But more than anything, it's boring. So I think they should just put it all out there. I really do. And I had a question for you, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I had a question. I have a Lucasfilm question for you that I do not know the answer to, and I'm just curious to find out. Does Disney Plus own THX 1138 and American Graffiti?
I think so.
Does it own Indiana Jones?
Yes. They do. We do know that they are working on another Indiana Jones film. They're working on a Willow film, right? Willow series rather.
Right.
So they own Willow. But yeah, among those other properties are American Graffiti and THX, which just celebrated its 50th anniversary, didn't it?
Yeah, but are those on Disney Plus, or are those coming to Disney?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, because those aren't. No. Once again, American Graffiti and THX are not kids' movies per se. I think American Graffiti has adult situations in it, but I don't think it would be. I don't know. I probably, like, if it was on the Stars content, then that would be one thing, I guess. But yeah, I was just wondering about that today, and I was wondering.
Neither of those are on there.
Okay, yeah. So I
was just checking Disney Plus.
I'm kind of curious about it, and I have a second question when we get to our next topic about that. But yeah, I thought I don't think there's any harm in releasing. How about releasing B. Arthur singing in the cantina from the holiday special? Like, that was a good scene. That was actually good.
I honestly, that was fun. I mean, if you take those scenes on their own, those like the little segments with what's Harvey Korman and all that other stuff, like, they're funny. The one with the weird the weird the VR thing that Chewie's dad gets into.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
Virtual sex. Yeah. That's weird. That's weird. That's not.
We don't need that.
But But honestly, having said that, I really think we shouldn't have to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Let's just put it all out there.
Yeah.
And let's embrace it. There's a documentary. I still can't find the release date for this documentary, but there is a documentary about the making of that holiday special coming out this year. And that would be, and I'm sure it's not official. I'm sure it's not by Disney, it's by somebody else. But I think if they just kind of embraced it and let fans have fun with it, they could have like a thing where they like, why don't you create the subtitles for this conversation between Scratchy and Itchy?
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? Like, so let's make it fun. And yeah, you're right. I think if they can release this stuff, they can release the full special. I don't know why Droids isn't here. I'm disappointed in the omission of the Droids.
Yeah,
cartoon.
I agree.
I like that cartoon better than the Ewoks cartoon, and maybe it's because of the music. Maybe Stuart Copeland won't give them the rights.
I forgot
to the music or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Stuart Copeland. Usually when something doesn't come out, there's a problem with music rights and that kind of thing. And sometimes when they release something and they've just got this bland soundtrack in the background, it's because they have to replace the original soundtrack. They sometimes do that. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do get the holiday special, like maybe before this next Christmas. That wouldn't surprise me. This might just be a prequel.
Yeah,
I think they're doing all the Boba Fett stuff. They're getting it out there because
of the show coming out. Yeah.
So I think that's why that one's coming out. And I think it's probably easy to clean up that little cartoon. And so why not put it out there? But I wouldn't be surprised if we don't ultimately get it. I think we probably will. And Droids too. Let's see what they do with this. I mean, once again, I'm curious to see how much trouble did they go to clean this stuff up? Or is it just like it ran originally? Like it's the digitized file and here you go. Like, my guess is they must have done something to make it look, to clean it up. Yeah.
Oh, sure. I'm sure they've cleaned them up and remastered them or whatever, right? I think you can actually find episodes of Droids cartoon. I think you can actually find it on. Sorry, I was saying what I was typing into the computer. Droids cartoon. You can find the series is on YouTube. The entire series. I mean, it was only one season, so I think it's like 20-ish episodes. But yeah, it's all on YouTube. So I mean, if Stuart Copeland was that big of a kind of upset about his music being used, he wouldn't let
you wouldn't think
it be on YouTube, right?
all of those, I'm curious to see it because the Droids action figures kind of like sort of had a new life in recent years on eBay. There's more collectors, and at a certain point I even thought about it. There was a collectible shop in town that had the Droids R2D2 for $200, and I was like, oh, $200, it's too much. I was like, but I'd get it if I could get all of them, all the figures. And then I went online and to my horror and astonishment, there's one Vlix, VLIX. And that's the rare one. And that one's like, forget it. That one's like $10,000 or something if you can find it. So, but if there's a bunch of collectors who are willing to pay good money for it, then there's probably a fandom out there to see it.
I think so. Yeah. Especially since they also have all these they have another animated Droids based series coming out. Right? They have that one. I don't know what it's called, but it's going to be kind of like that kind of thing. So why not? Right? Anyway,
maybe they're hanging on to it until then. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, but we'll we'll watch all this stuff and we'll talk about it. I'm sure once it comes out next month, we'll have lots to talk about as far as a reaction to it. And honestly, I wouldn't mind. Let us know let us know in the comments. I feel like a YouTube video, but let us know on our social media if you'd like us to do a watch along with one of those or both of those Ewok movies. Maybe not both. Maybe both is asking too much.
Let's start with one and see if we can even make it through. I might fall asleep half an hour in.
That's right.
Like I'm telling you, it was not Thrill a Minute there, Dan. The last time I tried, it was the opposite of Thrill a Minute. All right. It was like watching I don't care if Josh Whedon did a 4-hour version of it. I would not watch it. Okay.
You're mixing up your directors, but that's okay. Or it was an intentional mix-up.
Sorry, Joss and not Josh, right?
Yeah.
I've been making fun of that all day. You know that piece of shit movie that nobody liked? Well, now it's 4 hours.
I can't even.
What's the sales pitch on this?
And by the way, it's available for us. Like I don't remember when we were talking about when these movies are coming out. It's not going to be released here right away. It is being released here. It is on Crave right now. I saw it. Yeah. I don't know if I can bring myself to watch that again.
I can't watch. I'm
so
not
bad.
watch.
It's such. I never ever liked that movie. It's such a bad movie.
I love the idea, though. This could be a dawn of whole new thing where every terrible movie that's ever come out is now re-released, but it's 4 hours long. I love that idea. The worst movies ever made that get released into 4-hour blocks.
Oh man, can we get a 4-hour version of Ishtar?
Right,
please?
Like you hated it. You hated it.
I mean, that one is getting pretty close, but
you hated 2 hours, but 4 hours is what you really need to appreciate it. Like, pardon me. What is this? Like, here's the 17-hour version of Lawrence of Arabia. Like,
okay.
Oh, great, perfect. Except that's a good movie.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, moving on. The other big news that came to us, and I didn't know about this until you just told me about it, and this came out yesterday on the StarWars.com website. This is a toy-related news. Fan favorites from classic Star Wars stories come to Hasbro's Black Series. So what's happening here? Explain this to us.
Well, there's 4 new action figures coming out from the former expanded universe, which is very interesting. And of all the figures, there's one in particular that has garnered a lot of attention, and rightfully so, because it's kind of been an in-joke among Star Wars fans, and it's the rabbit. It's the green rabbit from Marvel Comics called, is it Jackson? Do you have him in front of you? Jaxxon or Jax?
Yes, Jackson, Jaxxon.
Right.
Yeah.
So they've got a figure for that guy. That's amazing.
Well, and this is a character from a comic book. They show in this, and I'll link to this in the show notes. They show this. I see this. The cover of this book. It's Star Wars Adventures from, I don't remember what year this is. Doesn't say. But yeah, this is it's basically a green rabbit with a spacesuit on. I mean, the artwork looks awesome. The artwork of this cover, and they're showing it in the box. When you open the box, there's an inside panel of him with Dengar, with our good buddy Dengar, who got his groove back. So he's hanging out with Jackson. So that's a great little shot. And so this is very cool.
Well, I'll buy it if I see it. I'll buy it.
The one I'm really like is the Heir to the Empire.
Luke has got he looks like, is he sweaty Luke or wet Luke or something? Is there something weird about him?
It's based on the cover. It's based on one of the covers for the book Heir to the Empire, which is based off. This is the Timothy Zahn, right? Is it Zelazny? Zahn? Is it Z name?
That's right.
I can't remember
that's him.
Timothy Zahn. I want to say Zelazny. Why do I want to say Zelazny?
Last week we were talking about Catherine Hahn. Was that her name from now I'm mixing them all up from WandaVision. So there's too many names that sound alike.
Yeah, and they've actually, interestingly enough, they've taken the author's name off of the box. So the author's name is not on that box. So they've taken him off, but the image is still one of the covers, and it's an image of Luke wearing like it's like he looks kind of like he does on Dagobah, right, when he's changing. He's like workout Luke, right? He's got no sleeves, and he's sweaty. Yeah, looks sweaty.
I guess I was about to say, I guess he's not sweaty Luke per se, but on the for some reason maybe he just reminds me of sweaty Luke because he looks like Dagobah Luke. He's got his green lightsaber.
Yeah, green lightsaber. But the coolest thing is that it comes with this Ysalamiri. How do you say that? Ysalamiri?
Oh,
is the Y silent? I don't know. It's kind of this weird little snake thing. And so, by the way, for those, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows, but just to remind everybody, the Heir to the Empire series, that's the series that brought us Grand Admiral Thrawn, who is now canon. This story is not canon. It's Legends, right? But it was like the first big novel to come out after the movies ended. This is kind of the first kind of extension of the Star Wars story that takes place after Return of the Jedi. So what one of Thrawn's things, he knows he has to go up against Luke at some point. So he builds this kind of personal harness that has all these creatures. They're called, like I said, Ysalamiri or whatever. And they basically they have the ability to block the Force, right? That's what they can do. Yeah,
they're like kryptonite for Superman.
Sort of, but I don't think they actually hurt Luke. He can't use the Force. It's like creates a dead spot of the Force, right? I'm trying to think of a good analogy. There's something else like this.
Wi-Fi.
What is it? It's like the Red River College, right?
That's right.
You're talking about the Wi-Fi at the college?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It stops working when you log in. No.
Anyway, no, but so basically it kind of creates, somebody know, let me, I can't remember what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of like maybe like a force field or something, but it creates like a bubble of dead force space so that Luke can't affect him. Anyway, this figure comes with one. Like, again, I don't remember how the story ends, so I don't remember if Luke actually gets his own one of these things. Because I don't think he does, but I don't remember. Do you remember?
Oh, I read the books, but I know I do not remember. No.
Why does he have one? I don't know. Remember a scene in which he has one, because this one like drapes around his shoulders, so like he's meant to be kind of wearing it as protection. I can't remember if he does that.
Does it say in the? It says it's the favorite pet of Grand Admiral Thrawn for its force blocking abilities. But let's see.
But I remember Thrawn builds himself like a harness with a bunch of them to protect himself from Luke. And I would rather have a figure of that, to be honest. I think that's a better figure from that book than this is.
Well, they said they've. It says in the little quote that they sculpted it to fit around the neck of Thrawn. That the figure they just made. So basically, it comes with Luke, and then you got to buy Thrawn to put the figure.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, that's what it's for. It's to try to get you to buy a second figure.
Oh, that's right. We sculpted the Ysalamiri to fit around the neck of a recently released Black Series archive Grand Admiral Thrawn, so the collectors can pose that figure out with the Ysalamiri to create those iconic moments from the novels and comics. Well, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
And then the next one is Darth Maul. This is from another comic book, right? Darth Maul.
It's pre-Phantom Menace. Now, I don't know. Is it? Oh yeah, it is. It says comic, right?
It's a shirtless Maul. He got a shirtless Darth Maul with hammer pants, and
hammer pants.
He's ready to rock. Yeah. This is basically Darth Maul like at his most badass, I think, is what this is meant to depict, and it is very, very cool. Oh, and the lightsaber even comes apart to form two lightsabers, which is also very neat.
Now it makes me think, Dan, you need to buy this and do a Hammer Time video with the action figure for TikTok. You got to do it.
Why, just because I made that joke?
Can't touch this. Gun. And then you animate them to go with it. I think that could be good.
Well, then I got to learn how to animate. Although my kids are showing interest in that, so maybe I could learn with them.
On TikTok, you could just do it. Like, it would be funny even if your hands were in the thing doing it. I think
that's right. That's right. I should just do that.
Yeah.
That's okay. TikTok. There you go. That's a promise.
That's great.
The next one is how many of those? This is the last one. It's the Imperial Guard, right?
From Crimson Empire.
It's from another comic book.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe. Yeah, Crimson Empire comic.
Oh, hey, and by the way, this is all these things have a 50th anniversary for Lucasfilm logo on it. So Lucasfilm is celebrating 50th anniversary because THX 1138 was his first movie.
Right. And that's what makes me, and that's what we'll come back to that in just a second for sure, because I'm interested.
Weird.
Why? Well, if it's 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm, does that mean we could have a line of THX 1138 figures? Ooh, that could be Robert Duvall. I'd buy that figure in a heartbeat. I would totally buy that figure. And you know what else I would buy? American Graffiti figures. Huh?
Yeah, I'm sure that I mean, with the collector's market, it's interesting. Back when those movies came out, of course the action figure line didn't really exist the way it does now because Star Wars created that. But they would never think to release action figures from a movie about teenagers drag racing in the, you know what I mean? Like it's all aimed at an adult audience is what I'm trying to say. It's all grown-ups that would buy that stuff, and for sure we would, because it's nostalgic. I'm sure they'll release something for those if they haven't already.
Hey, you're supposed to be the fast thing in the valley, man, but that can't be your car. It must be your mama's car. I'm sort of embarrassed to be this close to you.
You know how they had that they've got the Darth Vader boardroom scene that you can buy in the box with all the people sitting around the table. I would buy that box with all of the American Graffiti actors in there. Like you get Harrison Ford with the cowboy hat, you get Ron Howard, you get Richard Dreyfuss, Suzanne Summers.
They've released some. They exist.
What?
American Graffiti figures.
Do they really?
Yeah. Well, they're not really. It's basically it's a more based on the car. It's like a die-cast car that comes with and there's a bunch of different things. It's like a Hot Wheel thing. Okay, there's a Hot Wheels thing, but there's like their little figures. So they're small. Released by Revell. That remember they did models, Revell models or Revell models. So that's what it is. It's just a figure.
Wolfman Jack figure. Come on. Let's do this. Let's make this happen.
They should re-release it for sure. Yeah, there's huge. Yeah, someone should absolutely do that. They just did a bunch. What did they do? Well, they just had a big GI Joe release, and they've brought back all of these old things. That's a great idea for sure. American Graffiti toys.
I keep thinking about the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm, and you see that, and I go, really? It's Star Wars is 50 years old, and then you think about it and go, oh no, it's like before that. So you kind of got to go, okay, well, if it's before that, then what is it? And it's like, well, could we have something from the origin of Lucasfilm? That's what I was kind of hoping for, like something.
Maybe we'll still get it. I mean, we don't know. They might have something. This is part of it. This release of these figures is part of the celebration. So we might get we got a whole year still. We got lots of time. This last figure is interesting because it is an Imperial Guard. I believe it is from the original, the Return of the Jedi. Yeah, Return of the Jedi Imperial Guard. But this is a specific Imperial Guard. Karner Jax is his name, and it's a specific Imperial Guard from a specific story in this comic book, in this Crimson Empire comic book. So which I've never read. Karner Jax is his name.
That doesn't sound right. Are you sure?
Yeah, that's what it says here. Karner Jax, Star Wars Crimson Empire. A student of the dark side and a rising Sith Lord, Karner Jax was first introduced in 1997. Is he not maybe he's not a Imperial Guard. Maybe he's just he looks like one.
I can say I read that. I read that comic. I just don't remember. It was so long ago.
With an intimidating look based on the classic Imperial Guard from Return of the Jedi, Jax's outfit features salient details, including a
it's Canos. It's Kier Canos.
What? Well, they say they have it wrong here. Karner Jax, it says in my thing.
What? Are you looking at StarWars.com?
Yep.
That's what I'm looking at.
Can you share my screen with you?
Yeah, show me what you're looking at.
All right, I'll share my screen.
Because maybe mine's wrong. I'm looking. I saved it on Flipboard so I could look at it.
See here? The Black Series Karner Jax figure, and it says up here, Karner Jax.
What? I'm looking at the same picture, and it says Kier Canos.
How do you spell it?
Kirkanos.
Let me refresh. Maybe they changed it in the middle of this.
Well, maybe mine's wrong. Did they change the name? Did they get the action figure? Have we discovered something here? Hang on, let me look. I'm going to check the Nerdist. I'm going to do my double check. Nerdist says it's Karner Jax. Okay, hang on. Now I got to show you. It says Kier Canos. Why does it say that?
It's weird. It's like how what's the thing that Greedo said there, McClunky? It's like how that remember how that disappeared for all of us, but it did it gradually. It didn't do it all at once. Because we all had, like, when we were streaming it, it's different versions of the same thing or whatever.
No, I don't know if you can see. Can you? Oh no, there.
Yeah, Kier Canos. Yeah.
Why?
Well, and let's see. Okay, wait. Show me the photo. It's the same photo. It's the same photo. Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's weird.
What?
Well, I think it's probably a mistake that you have an earlier version, and they since corrected it. Yeah. You've got it's cached. That version is cached in your phone. So.
Well, okay, so then why aren't Star Wars fanboys going crazy online? Why aren't they going nuts?
You're the only person who noticed it. We've discovered something here. How dare you? How dare you say, what was it again? Kit Castos instead of Dax Shepard instead of whatever. Hey, Dax Shepard should be in a Star Wars. He's got
Wait a sec. Maybe Kier Canos is an American Graffiti or THX 1138 character.
That's the name of Robert Duvall's character in THX.
They've accidentally leaked it. They leaked the fact that figure is coming out.
I got to tell you, I would love to have one of those police guy figures from that, like the policemen in that movie that chase them. Those are very cool. The police androids or whatever they were, robots. That was awesome.
Oh yeah. So, oh no, yeah. THX 1138 is a classic. I mean, it's weird and it's not fan pleasing in the way that Star Wars is, but it's still well worth watching. If folks haven't watched THX 1138, you got to see it.
I wonder where you can watch it.
It's got to be out there. I mean, it's been on TV quite a bit in recent years. I mean, the first place I ever saw it was on TV.
Well, here's the thing. Like, the release date is actually October 28th, 1970. Oh, that's 77. What? It didn't come out in 77. Oh, that's a different version. That's March 11th, so it just happened. March 11th, 1971. That was the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I don't know. They're not doing anything about it. They should re-release it. They should absolutely re-release it.
Yeah,
So.
there should be well, maybe there was a bigger stir than we knew just because of COVID.
Honestly, the only person I saw posting about it was Mr. Hidalgo himself. That's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he posted something about it, and I said, "Oh yeah," and I liked the post, and I moved on. But I've not seen anybody else talking about it.
The only person who still cares.
Your friend is quite a mercenary. I wonder if he really cares about anything. Or anybody.
I care.
That's it for those figures, right? That's it. There's the 4.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, well, they're very cool. Like, I would love to get that Luke figure, for sure. And the other ones, I mean, the rabbit one is cool and like it looks neat. Doesn't have a meaning for me, but it's still pretty neat.
I bought all those Star Wars comics, and that particular one was, I think, the first Star Wars comic after they adapted A New Hope, which was only called Star Wars at the time. That was the first one that came out with a new story. And I remember being like, oh my God, this is the like continuing adventures. This is before anybody even had any idea of what is canon. Like, that was nothing.
Yeah, they didn't care about that. Yeah.
No, so I ran to 7-Eleven and I bought it, and I was like, there's a Green Rabbit character. There's this and there's that. And I just remember reading it, like just soaking it up, because I thought that this comic was showing us the sequel. I thought this was showing us in advance of the sequel coming up what we would see. And then after like about 5 of those comics, I started wising up and going like, this isn't as good as Star Wars. And then I was like, oh, it's because 2 guys at Marvel Comics are just kind of running with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they didn't have to go through the process. Now, of course, you would have to have all that approved and all of that gone through. Like, obviously, Pablo and those guys in the story group do that kind of stuff. They coordinate everything. But this is like, hey, why don't have a big green rabbit in this story? And
maybe we'll see him in something.
Well, I guess the thing is, Star Wars has this wackiness to it that it's not unheard of that we would have something like that. So it is plausible, but it is a little bit like we've talked about this before. Every time we see like an Earth creature, like a snake or something in Star Wars, it feels a little bit like, oh, we're out of this now. Like in the Dagobah scene, of course, is famous for that. All kinds of snakes and lizards and stuff that are just regular lizards, right?
I was just gonna say that if we know in the Marvel universe that the Green Rabbit was hopping around after A New Hope, that means that for Cassian Andor TV show or Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, the rabbit could have a role. The rabbit could show up, and I wonder if this.
Well, hey, they put Howard the Duck. Hey, there's another Lucasfilm property, by the way. Howard the Duck is also under all this. They put him in the MCU. So
is Howard the Duck available on Disney Plus?
I don't know. That's right now.
I meant to say, did I say it forgive me if I've already said this on another episode, but Tim Robbins was interviewed on the Gilbert Gottfried podcast not too long ago.
You did say this. Yeah.
Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he said, and it's really well worth listening to for anybody who likes.
No, it's not on Disney Plus.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. He said something like he wasn't sure that they actually knew what they were making or something.
Well, he said it was one of his.
He couldn't understand how it was going.
Yeah, it was one of his first films, and he's like, and he was familiar with the comic, so he shows up. He's like, this doesn't look like the Duck. This doesn't. I thought this was a wisecracking guy with a cigar. He's like, well, I guess they know what they're doing. And like, then he says the movie comes on, and he's like, oh, it's not good.
Yeah.
But I guess you don't know when you're shooting a movie. I guess you just don't know whether it's going to be any good.
Well, especially at the time, he was pretty young and kind of new. Who else is in that? The mom from Back to the Future,
Lee Thompson.
Leah Thompson. Yeah, she's also in that. Yeah, and that's a pretty funny. Like, it's pretty racy if you look at that movie, and it's not for kids. It's definitely not for kids. Although it looks like it should be for kids. And I remember seeing it as a kid. Like, I would see the box at the movie store.
Yeah. And
I would look at it, and they would kind of like, the logo made it look like it was a Disney character, like kind of a font, but I knew based on, I'd heard somewhere that was not for kids, so I never tried to rent it. But then I ended up seeing it, of course, later on. But anyway, it is pretty racy.
Yeah, no, well, there's the famous condom scene, but it's weird because in a weird way they cleaned up the character, so it's like weird. It's like a weird kind of hybrid between a kids movie and not a kids movie.
Oh, okay.
And when you really, when you look at it now, you just go like, who was supposed to see this? It's very confusing.
Well, it's interesting anyway. So I don't know, and they have not announced any plans for Howard the Duck, so we'll keep an eye out for that. maybe they'll do something. Maybe they could turn it into an animated series or something. That might work actually. An adult, like a grown up, like along the lines of Family Guy or something like that, like an animated series based on more on the comic book than on the movie.
I was actually thinking, imagine, I'll bet you it would be popular, the Lucasfilm Hall of Shame of the worst characters to come out of Lucasfilm. And you could do action figures, and you could do Howard the Duck, you could do Dexter Jetster, you could put him in there.
Oh, I'll share this. I saw a great listicle. Maybe I saved it for talking about it on this podcast and I forgot to talk about it, but it was like the worst names in Star Wars. Oh, yeah. And up there is Dexter Jetster and Sleaze Bagano or whatever his name is, Mr. Death Sticks from that movie too. And that's those are like the worst Star Wars names. I can't remember what the other ones. I'll find that and talk about it next time.
Those are embarrassing. And hey, how about an action figure for the farting Opie from the beginning of the pod race? Like there's some good characters to put in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think that I'm telling you, it's a moneymaker.
We'll see.
If the Green Rabbit's out, it's all on the table. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Anything's possible. All right, anything else we should talk about this week before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you on the ass.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
TK421, you copy?
Now I